So this is near the end of Samson's life. Judges 15:12. We, the Israelites, when your own people turn against you, you've got relational issues. The Israelites come down to bind you that we may give you to the hand of the Philistines. And Samson said to them, swear to me that you will not attack me yourselves. So here's what we see with Samson. He's almost entirely driven by selfishness and pleasure. And as a result, he has a lot of anger. And as a result, he's a very lonely man. So what it says here is, at the end of his life, the Philistines were the enemies of God's people. God's people showed up and they grabbed Samson and they handed him over to the Philistines. His own people didn't support him. Let me ask you this. For those of you that know the story, how did the romantic relationships go for Samson? Disaster. Marries a Philistine gal, not supposed to marry an unbelieving Philistine. He abandons her. So then a little bit later in his narrative, he walks into enemy territory and there's a brothel there and he's supposed to be the man of God. He goes right into the brothel and hires a prostitute. And then in the end, he gets hooked up with a chick named Delilah and she seduces him and ultimately she betrays him and then they gouge out his eyes and he's arrested. He never has any healthy romantic relationship in his whole life. What does his friends look like? He has no friends. Every page of his life, he's totally alone. There's not one guy who's alongside of him. Men who go it alone self-destruct. See, and in our Western world, whether it's Rambo or Clint Eastwood or whomever it is, we sort of objectify the best men as the most independent and isolated. Those are actually the men that are in the process of self-destructing. And what we're looking for is healthy relationships so that we can encourage each other to be the best version of ourselves, not the worst version of ourselves. What I'm telling you is Samson would have really benefited from a table lead at Real Men. Right? I mean, the guys that actually would put their finger in the chest and say, that's enough prostitutes and alcohol, Pastor. In addition, at the end of his life, does he have any children? No. Here's a guy, lives a long life, no wife, no kids, no friends, no coworkers, completely alone. If you're a man and you're a loner, you're going to self-destruct. That we all are blind to our blind spots. We all are capable in our worst moments of self-destructing our own life. And that's where you get your brothers before your battle, so when your battle comes, you can lean on your brothers. What men don't do well is relationship. But let me say this, if you have the right guys around you, they're gonna save you from you. And the story of Samson is, the most dangerous person to you is you. The most dangerous person to me is me. And so we need good men around us. And had Samson had some good men that he was willing to listen to. So there's two pieces of this. One, you've got to choose good men. And number two, you got to listen to them. You've actually got to listen to them. I'm not sure that Samson was willing to listen. It may be why he didn't have a lot of good men around him. But the hope, prayer, and goal as well is that you raise your sons and then one day they become those men. And so the hope is, men, that we surround ourselves with good men, we listen to those men, and then we raise our sons as they become men. They're also those men. That we're giving them advice, they're giving us advice. I just wish Samson had guys like you. And I wish Samson had sons like mine. It would have changed the course of his whole life.